For more than a decade, I've worked as an accountant, consultant, and CFO to a number of organizations around the world. And for much of that time, this was me, poring over data, sifting through records, documents, and files. For a lot of that time, I had to make sense of that information and present it in a boardroom setting, conveying results and information to the board. And this is necessary because you need that information to understand results, interpret performance against forecasts and budgeting, and get a sense of where you're going in order to inform the decision makers. But a lot of the time we had a problem. With many of my clients, information was either timely or accurate. It was never both. And for one of my assignments, I was tasked with understanding why this was. Why could we not get information that was both timely and accurate? So this company actually had multiple back office processing centers around the world. So I visited one, and this is what I found. People disengaged, unproductive, unmotivated, and simply hating their job. Enter the Great Resignation. People are leaving their jobs in droves because they hate the work they are doing. They understand that the work they are delivering for their employees equates to wasted human potential. Now, we undertook an ERP transformation process, a digital transformation process to make these people's lives better, to make sure that they were delivering value and doing work that mattered to them, giving them back autonomy and giving them the ability to contribute value to the organization they work for. But in doing so, I found three problems. Firstly, enterprise software absolutely sucks. The user interface is terrible. People hate using it. It's unintuitive. And more often than not, it's built for enterprises and not the people that work within them. Now, as consumers, we all get to use the software that brings us joy, the software that we actually like using, or the software that actually scratches the itch or solves a problem that we personally have. We have choices to ignore or refuse to use horrible software. Unfortunately, the employees and enterprises don't. They're stuck with the decisions of the purchasing decision makers or the procurement teams within those enterprises. Now, secondly, digital transformation is just a nightmare. It involves bloated digital transformation teams and digital transformation projects that can span many, many months or years. And more often than not, we come across situations like this. Digital transformation consultants presenting complex solutions, new software, new technologies to the end users who are absolutely terrified. There is this massive divide between the people who suffer the problem and need a solution and the people who deliver the solution but don't understand the problem. And finally, data is a complete mess. Within an organization, we can standardize and structure data to reasonably quickly deliver automation projects. But as soon as we start dealing with information that comes from third parties or other organizations, this really goes out the window because it's very difficult to standardize data and information that's coming from outside parties. More than 70% of data within an enterprise is dark data. It's either unstructured or semi-structured and needs some sort of intervention to clean, classify, and standardize so that modern enterprise systems can understand it. In the past, we've dealt with this through offshoring or back office processing, where humans can do this task of standardizing, cleaning up data, and providing the data to systems in a format that those systems understand. Bigger companies have multiple processing centers. And in fact, these are some of the centers I visited in some of my CFO assignments. Different locations deal with different types of documents, different languages, different processes, different forms, etc. And within these centers, this is what we find. People who are simply processing data from a format that humans understand into a format that computers understand. Each of these people, on average, will process 12,000 keystrokes per hour for the entirety of their career in this position. And that equates to more than 500 trillion keystrokes or more per year across this industry of back office processing. These people are literally working their fingers down to the bone by typing data in mundane and repetitive tasks and positions. Again, wasted human potential. Now, if data is the fuel that powers the modern enterprise, then these people are the batteries that provide that fuel. They are feeding this data to enterprise systems, and in doing so are wasting their true potential. So that's why we built Staple. We wanted to build a solution that would empower every individual to take control of their own digital destiny. If they themselves had an itch they wanted to scratch or a problem they wanted to solve, we wanted to give the tools to them in order to automate the worst parts of their everyday job. Our platform can ingest and automate any document, regardless of layout, language, or type. It can be trained by anybody in the business, from a junior intern through to the most senior executive in an organization, and it's intuitive and built for the end user. It's enterprise software that employees like to use. Now, this is a big deal because we're empowering any individual within a company to take control of their own digital destiny. They can scratch their own itch. If they identify a pain point or a problem within their role, within a business, they can develop solutions themselves. There's no need to rely on expensive data science teams. There's no need to wait for bloated digital transformation projects that can span multiple years. If a junior intern identifies a problem, they can use Staple to train a new AI model and begin accelerating and automating their jobs within an hour. Now, we started out with reasonably simple use cases: spend management, KYC, onboarding documents, order management. But we're finding that empowering these junior staff or people who actually have these problems, they're using Staple for much more complex use cases. Things like term sheets for exotic instruments, financial statements, entire logistics workflows like bills of lading, packing lists, and delivery notes. A number of enterprise players are already starting to take notice. We're already partnered with the likes of IBM, SAP, and Accenture to deliver revolutionary experiences to their clients and users. And even more recently, global heads of AI for insurers and Big Four accounting firms are starting to realize how impactful our user interface can be to the productivity of their own teams. And this is proof that Staple can help any employee in any enterprise seize their digital destiny and realize their full human potential.